So this is where we left off last time. We have the value cards, we have the visualizations down here, and then what we worked on last time is actually knowing what visualizations are on the main page if we're getting different data from the API. So in this video, what I want to do is when we're getting new data here and making an API call, I want to show a modal here that tells us what the application is doing and that we're currently waiting for data. And then what I also want to do, I want to include another, not a visualization, but a table that just shows how many, the most popular posts on my blog. And then the next thing is if we're actually changing the date here, what I want to do is I want to give these ones a default height, because right now, if we're clicking the filter button, the height of the panel disappears. So there's no height on them, and then if we put in the visualizations, we get the height back. So first of all, in here, what we're going to do is we're going to use the shinybusy library to display the modal. So we'll say library and then shinybusy, and then where we have to input the modal is here in the get data module. So this is the button. There were the filter button, and then if we're clicking this one, we have an event reactive, so this one gets triggered. And then what we're doing right now, we're just using the data from the data folder in here. But later on, here is the code that's getting the data from the API. So we'll say shinybusy, and then we're going to use the show modal spinner, and here we have a text, and we'll say retrieving API data ... And then the code down in here gets executed. We're getting the right data, we're filtering it down for the right dates, and then we have to remove it after we're done. So we'll say remove modal spinner in here, and that should remove it again. So right now, this code that's in between show modal spinner and show and remove modal spinner is going to be executed very fast because we're using the local data in here. Later on, it's going to take a while to get all the data into the app. So I'm just going to wait for 5 seconds or 3 seconds in here, because otherwise the modal spinner is going to get removed pretty quickly. So if we run the app and save it, we get the spinner here, then it's getting removed, and then the visualizations appear here on the main page. So next what I want to do is I want to add the table with the most popular posts. So I'll just call the function table, and then in here we have a data frame as an argument, and the data comes from the Google Analytics data. So it's called web_data. And we need to use the page path column in here and then sum up the page views to see what the most popular posts during the specified time periods were. So in here we'll say web data. So first of all, we want to filter out all the NA values in the page path column. And then what we're going to do is we're going to group by page path, and I'm going to call it page URL is equal to page path. And then we're going to summarize it, and we'll say views is equal to some page views. Then we're going to ungroup it, and then we're going to arrange it. So we only want to display the 20 most popular posts. So we'll arrange it in decreasing order. And then afterwards, we're going to use the slice function and get the first 20 rows. So this is how it's going to look like. And then I'm going to use the knitr function and knitr package and the kable function to display the table. And then in order to style it, I'm going to use the kable extra package. So I'm going to load them. And then in here, I'll say knitr and kable. Now the format is going to be HTML. Then we'll use the kable extra package and the kable styling function. And then in here, kable styling, we have the bootstrap options. Bootstrap options, and then in here, what we'll say is it's going to be striped, and then if we hover over a row, it's going to be, it has like a gray color if we hover over it as well. And then right now, if we leave it like that, we would only display the HTML text in the panel. So we have to use the shiny and then HTML function from shiny to actually display the table in HTML. And we'll save this into table. Or let's leave this as web data, and then we'll return table. And what we'll return is just the HTML in here. So we'll replace this with the data frame. We'll save it in the R folder as table. And then we just have to add it into the main page. So in here, we'll just give it the G ID. Then the data source that it's going to use is the GA data. Here, we have to put the GA data in here as well, and then we'll just call it most popular posts. Then we'll save this in here, and then we have to go into the R folder and also have to go into the main visualizations module. So in here, we'll add the ID, then we'll also add the data frame, and then we'll also add the header. And then what we need to do, we need to go into the Google Analytics file as well. And then in here, if the action link most popular posts is clicked, then we're going to call the table function with the data frame in there. So we'll save this. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think this should work. Let's see. So we're getting the modal. It's going to get removed. And now here we have the most popular posts. So what we're going to do now is we're going to style the panels. So for all the visualization panels and also this table one, we give it a specific height, default height. And then for this one, we also have to say overflow scroll. So it has the same height as the visualizations. So I'm going to go into the Google Analytics R file. And then in here, after header. I'm going to put style, and then if the header is equal to most popular posts, then the style is going to be, so overflow y is scroll, and then height is going to be 430 pixels. And if it's not equal to most popular posts, it's going to be just a plotly plot. And if that's the case, we're just going to put height to 430 pixels. So we'll save this. And then I just have to capitalize this one. And this looks okay too. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, we get an error, and I think I missed a comma right here. And then I missed something else as well. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I missed the else one. Okay. Let's see if this works. So for the most popular posts, we don't get anything in there. And I have no idea why. It still says this is still not capitalized, so I must have misspelled it somewhere. I've misspelled it in here. So now here we get the most popular posts, we get the scroll in here, so it's the same height as the other ones. And let's see if we're changing if we're actually changing the date, if the height is preserved of the panels. Now the height is preserved here, but we see that the table is not being removed. And I think this is because when we go into the script, the ww folder and the scripts.js file, we see that here we have a function that removes all visualizations on the main page that start with the HTML widget ID, and the table doesn't have this ID, so it's not getting removed. So what we have to do is we have to go into this function and just give it a div, and here we'll give it the HTML widgets ID. So let's see if this works. So if we remove these ones and then change the date again, then the table is actually being removed. But now it's not being put in again. And the reason for this is, where do we have it? Here, this is the observer that puts back in all the visualizations. So, and here we have the CSS selector. So we have the current visualizations that are on the main page, which is the header. So it's channel groupings, most popular posts. And here we have the string R string replace function that chooses, that's going to be the CSS selector, and this function then puts back in the visualizations right in here after the header class. And if we, for example, go in here and then we'll say string R, and then we'll replace, we'll do channel groupings, and then we'll replace the white space with a dot. With a dot, the white space here gets replaced. But if we add something else in here, channel groupings A, for example, and then we'll run this again, we'll see that we only get a dot here for the first white space, but not for the second one. And if we go into the Google Analytics visualization script, we see that all of these of the headers that we see in the panel, they only have they only consists of 2 words. So we have page views, device category, bounce rate, visitor map. These are all 2 words, and these ones are the most popular posts, or 3 words. So that means that the dot is only getting inserted here, but not here. So if we put this in here, this is going to be the CSS selector, just like that. And so that's why it's not going to be placed into the right spot here. So what we have to do is we have to say, instead of the string replace one, we'll say string replace all. And if we do that here as well, we see that the first white space gets replaced with a dot, and the second one gets replaced with a dot as well. So if we remove this, then save this here, I think this should work and should put back the table in here as well if we are changing the data. So let's just remove 2 of them. Yeah, and now both the table and also the visualization gets put back into the main page. So this was everything for this video. In the next one, what I want to do is I want to create a login page. And this is important because what we want to do is, here on the main page, we want to display different visualizations depending on what user has logged in. So some users, maybe they're not interested in the bounce rate or the most popular posts, and they actually want to see other visualizations that are here in the sidebar. So the main page here can be customized with different panels. That's why we're creating the logging page, and then in the video after that, we're connecting to a database to store the visualizations that the user has selected. I'll see you next time.